Yeah, but we're like the Rattlers, but don't say it's just Rugby ATL is Rattle. Well, because Rugby ATL, the abbreviation's Rattle. So they just made it into like our snake is like our logo now. It's actually pretty dope. Really? But we're not like the Atlanta Rattlers. It's just Rugby ATL.
Okay. Yeah. I may just say you're playing professional rugby in Atlanta.
That's fine.
Rugby ATL. I feel like that's like the Washington football team where they're trying to like.
Right.
Be they're in a rebranding phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all right, cool. I'll just kick it off here in a sec.
Sweet.
Hi, this is Alex from the Millennial Entrepreneur. I'm here with one of my really good friends, Connor Cook. He's playing professional rugby down in Atlanta right now, and they just moved out from Colorado. So, Cook, it's great to have you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so if you could just run me through kind of your background on the business side. I know you've got the video company, but if you could just expand on that and maybe some other things that you've worked in.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, my brother and I own a company called Mattershot. It is a 3D virtual tour company. So essentially we just have a camera, sits at about eye level of like the average human. And you go into a building, you take photos, 360 photos, and you have to do them space mount like 6 to 8 foot increments. And then once you capture the entire building or the space you're trying to show, we send it off to a company. They finalize the tour, and then they send it back. And then we give it to the, if it's a real estate company or something, we'll give it to the real estate agent, and they'll post it on their website. And then people can go and view the tour. It's really cool. It's very clean in the final cut. It's very clean looking, and gives you, a full perspective of what the layout of the building will look like on the inside, which is nice. So we actually got hooked into hotels in Denver. So we were really into the Hilton hotel chain, and we shot a lot of their rooms, conference rooms, stuff like that, which was really cool. They actually were making it a standardized thing for hotels to have these virtual tours available for people. And then it's been pretty big hit since COVID and everything's happened.
Yeah, I'm sure with COVID, people aren't able to go and tour facilities or homes. So it's a lot bigger need to have somewhere where they can walk through online virtually.
Yes. Yep, exactly. And it was a little hard for me to really promote the business in Denver. It was more of a kind of a side job for me, just because I had rugby going on, and then I also worked at Elite Speed, which is a sports performance company, as a trainer. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of an afterthought most of the time. So I didn't promote the business as much as I should have. So that's kind of what I'll be working on here in Atlanta in the off season, is trying to promote that and build it up a bit.
So how do you see your customer acquisition pathway? Like, maybe the hotels in Denver, or how would you connect with real estate agents, or what's kind of your plan?
So I'm actually a little bit fortunate because my cousin lives out here, and he's younger. So, he's just a year younger than me. He's like probably 27, 28. And he has some buddies that are getting into commercial real estate. So that's kind of the first place I thought I would go and kind of ask them and try to get some connections made through those guys and see what we can get going. And then as well, one of the investors for the Atlanta team is a commercial real estate agent. And so I could reach out to him as well, which I was thinking about doing.
Yeah, I think commercial real estate would be a perfect opportunity for y'all's company.
I
think there's enough. There's like enough money in it, like per sale, to make it worth it.
Right. Well, that was the thing about the hotels that was so nice is, they have such large marketing budgets that, it's easy for them to throw money at something like that. unfortunately, the guy that I was connected to that actually had us shooting places all over the country, not just in Colorado, he had moved on to another company. So I need to get in contact with maybe who replaced him, so I can get connected out here possibly, because the hotels were great.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fairly consistent money. And did they have you on certain sections of their branches, like certain locations in the United States, or just anywhere that needed it?
Kind of just anywhere that needed it, really. And since he had just used me before, he would just recommend it if anyone reached out to him for something like that. And then we'd set it up, and then I'd just go shoot it. So that's good.
What do you see about the like how long do you think, so you have the customer acquisition piece, and then how long do you think someone works with you?
So that was the great thing about the hotels, right, is because we also charge like a hosting fee. So what happens when I shoot a space is then per space, so let's say it's a hotel, like a conference room is going to be a space, a hotel room is going to be a space, the lobby is going to be a space. So they're all going to be different spaces. Depending on how many of those I shoot, they have to pay per month for me to host those for them. So it's like reoccurring revenue.
Mm-hmm. And that can go on almost indefinitely.
Yeah, and that can go on. So with the hotels, but that's the one thing about So my brother and I did a little bit of real estate work as well, but just residential. So the only problem with those is the turnover is really quick.
Yeah.
So they don't need the spaces hosted for that long. If someone buys a house, they want to take it down, obviously, because that's just a waste of money for them. Where the hotels are going to constantly host those pretty much forever, because they need them up there unless they need them like updated or anything.
Yeah, it almost seems like like an entertainment or hotel where someone needs to check out the space, like maybe it's probably too large, but like Disney World or stuff like that, where it's like a roller coaster where people may like want to see inside of it, like, and see what it looks like before they pull the trigger. Same thing kind of with the hotel.
Yeah, same thing. Exactly. And another market I think it would be good in, because they're more of a constant thing, because Taylor and I just had to go down this road. It's something I never really thought of, is Airbnbs. So because pictures, you can always distort pictures a little bit, right, to make the area look bigger and whatnot.
Yeah.
But you can't fudge anything with the 360 view, because you can get into like seeing where the corners of the rooms are. You're not stuck on that one sided image or whatever. So
that's very interesting.
I think that would be
it can almost make you feel like you've already been there when you walk in the first time, since you've already done the 3D tour.
Exactly. And that's it. And that's the whole beauty of it. And that's why I like it so much, is because of that. Because it sucks when you go into, even, for that matter, even hotels. How many hotels have you stayed at where you like look at the pictures and you're like, damn, this room looks awesome. And then you get in there and it's like tiny, Yeah, so you definitely get a good grasp of, what you're going to be walking into before you actually do it, which is nice. That's
a great idea. I mean, I think Airbnb hosts would really appreciate that.
See, and I do too. And I have all the Airbnbs we've like kind of applied for, the ones we were like looking at when we were coming out here.
Yeah.
None of them had that at all. And so it was really hard to get an idea of like, what space, especially because we have a kid and a dog. So for us, we needed a bit of space,
Yeah.
So it's really hard to grasp like the size of the house and everything like that, with just the descriptions and like the pictures alone.
So what is y'all's price plan? So you mentioned there's likely a upfront fee, maybe some travel fees, just to get the video done, and then maybe some hosting fees afterwards.
Yep. So typically we charge by the square foot, and it's like, it starts at like $275 for like, I don't don't know, 500 square feet or something. Then it goes up from there. The thing is when we're getting these larger buildings, like I've shot a couple gyms, or I'm sorry, I'm so out of breath. I'm just walking with the dog, so I'm dying.
You gotta stay fit for rugby. That's not very good.
I know. It's not. It's an incline. It's an incline.
Uphill both ways. Right.
Uphill both ways. So it's a battle. But for those bigger ones, we just kind of take it upon ourselves to come up with the pricing for those. Just that's kind of, there's no set scale for like the larger spaces is my point.
Oh, because it's
typically for like a hotel room, we would do like $250 per room, depending on what it was. If it was a larger suite, might be like 300, and then the lobbies would be $400 or $450, something like that. So it quickly adds up,
Yeah. Okay. So it's maybe not based on square foot. It may just be based on the actual like application.
Exactly. That's kind of like, we have a model on our website and stuff that does say like a square foot breakdown, but they're smaller square footage numbers. So the second you get over those, it's just like email us for an inquiry or like a quote.
Like if it's a gym, it may be pretty intimidating how much they're going to pay, but really it may be a different cost basis.
Or it might not be as much as they think. Like obviously if it's you got to think, the other thing for us is like, okay, how difficult is this space to shoot? A gym is really easy to shoot. It's a wide open, normally it's a wide open space, and you want that. It's hard to shoot stuff. Like quite frankly, a house is very hard to shoot. You got stairs you got to deal with. You got a lot of corners. Sometimes the camera doesn't cooperate well with corners.
Yeah.
So the gyms actually can go quite quickly, and that gets factored into the price as well. So, and then we charge a $10 a month hosting fee per space. So that goes back to like the hotel, right? Let's say they have 5 spaces for one hotel. That hotel alone is going to pay $50 a month for us to host their stuff for as long as they want it hosted for.
Now, are you seeing a significant amount of competition in this industry? Because it looks like maybe a hotel could pay you, say, $1,000, $2,000 with $50 reoccurring, which doesn't seem like that much on a marketing budget.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. So, for instance, that'd be like a pretty, let's say, I'll give you an example. I shot a hotel in Denver, and it was maybe 6 or 7 spaces, and it took me 2 hours. I charged them $4,000, and they're happy to pay it.
Wow. That's
and then
not a bad 2 hours.
No, it's not. And so, and the beauty of the company is, it's all operated on just 2 pieces of equipment. You need an iPad and you need the camera, and then they work off of each other.
And that's all of your expenses is really just the upfront, maybe.
Yep. And then we obviously, and then we have like a monthly fee that we pay the company that then meshes the tour and makes it like the final edit.
Yeah.
We pay them a small fee a month as well. But other than that, that's pretty much it. We don't have, it's just me and my brother on staff, so we don't have a payroll. We just take like distribution of profits every quarter.
Wow.
So yeah, like it's good. I mean, but you hit it on the head when you said, it's not that big of a fee to like a big company like that. Like it really isn't. And that's the beauty of the entire company. And that's why I like hotels and stuff, because it's a lot harder to do that on like a real estate front. Well, maybe not commercial real estate, but for sure just residential. Yeah.
I think
like I
with
said, those are the hardest.
You'd have to get quantity, and then
you'd have to have so many, exactly. 100%.
And you'd also have to have places like Zillow or things like that, like accept your 3D platform. Because now they just draw from images,
right?
So they may not get the value.
And going back to the competition, I didn't see a lot of it in Denver, to be honest with you. But out here, because Taylor and I are looking for houses right now for ourselves, you know, a lot of the places on like Redfin, Zillow, they'll have virtual tours,
Oh,
and
really?
they're hosted by that company Matterport, which is who we use for our final edits and stuff.
So Matterport
So
combines them and likely gives you the software for your iPad, but they also connect into Redfin and Zillow.
I think this is just other people like me hosting their tours through like Redfin. So they got hooked in with the real estate agent, and they said, you know, they went and shot the place, and the real estate agent hosts the tour on their website, and then Redfin just pulls it off that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah.
So the pathway is already there, I guess. It's just someone has to like do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's great.
It's a very interesting business model because it's so like it is not capital intensive. So it's like just whatever time and work you can throw into it, you kind of get it back.
Exactly. And once you pay off the camera, which is, you know, expensive, that's all you're looking at. And then it's all
gravy.
It's all profit after that. So you can grow it as big or as small as you want. You know, you could have a couple cameras operating on one business, which is like what Danny and I would like to get to. But we're just growing it right now. You know, it's like I said, Danny's had always also been busy. He's got his own software company. He joined the military. So like I said, it's kind of afterthought a little bit for both of us, but we want to grow it. So
I think it's a very interesting model, and also somewhere I think that commercial real estate or Airbnb or things that have continued use would really benefit from.
Yeah, I do too. And I think I really think the Airbnb, even the more we're just talking about it now, is like, it's such an untapped market. Like I haven't seen any virtual tours on any of the Airbnbs that I've looked at. So I think that would be huge.
I think it would too, because, you know, you're going to an unfamiliar place that you don't know anyone. And now you can walk through the building, you know, you can see the front door and you can walk through it and not be looking at pictures and be thinking like, oh, is this person just really good at taking photos?
Exactly. Or what are they hiding?
Yeah, because, you know, there's little quirky, weird things in houses that are always like maybe a weird wall or a strange place, or
even the house, like the Airbnb we got's great, you know, and that's like, it's no problem. We enjoy it. But like from the pictures, it looked, you know, just sparkling on the inside. And we get in there and they did like, they put down new like laminate floors and they had redone the bathrooms and stuff, but like the cabinets and everything, like there's like paint chipped all off them, and like the tables and shit. So just in that sense, it, you know, it would expose some of those things because you can like zoom in and get a couple different 360 photos within like the same room, so you can really see the space for what it is.
You know, I really think too, luxury real estate would be a good market.
Luxury real estate would, I agree.
Because it maybe sells a bit slower, and maybe there's, you know, people want to look a bit more into it. And,
I agree. That's actually a really good point.
The advertising budget would at least be there.
Yeah, definitely would. So, yeah, it's a good one as well.
Well, and so what made you guys, you know, going back from our college days, you've always had a bit of hustle in you.
Sure.
But what made you decide, or you and your brother working together, like, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to do this. We're going to, you know, spend the time. We're going to invest ourselves into something that may or may not bring us a return.
Okay, so this is crazy. So I wasn't even a part of it in the beginning. My brother and his buddy, well, really my brother bought the company or started it, and with one of his buddies. And, you know, his buddy was doing also kind of other side jobs and stuff, so wasn't devoting a ton of time. So anyway, they had all these shots set up. The ones that were up in the mountains, they would do. But the ones down in Denver, you know, they were busy, so I would do them. So I started doing all these shoots for them and just getting paid, you know, like $25 an hour. And I'm like chatting the people's ears off, like making all these connections. They really like me. I'm sending emails afterwards and stuff. And my brother eventually goes, dude, you're doing way more work than the other guy. Like, he's kind of phasing out. And basically it was like, I'm going to buy him out of the company and give you his half, or his 49%.
Wow.
So then once that happened, you know, I was taking it way more seriously, because now I own part of the company. So yeah, I just kind of grinded in the beginning, doing all the shoots and stuff and being as personable as I could. And it paid off for me, because now I own half the company.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
and I think, sorry, I think my brother's original point was, excuse me, was the reason he did it is he just saw the opportunity for what it could be, you know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think it could be, I don't know if it's like a daily hustle, like something you can live off of, but it's an absolutely, it's the perfect kind of side hustle. I mean, sure, maybe it blows up. I don't know.
Yeah, but I just think to get to that point, I think you'd have to add in, maybe offer like just still photography, maybe offer, you know, some drone footage. Yeah, just to be more of an all-inclusive photography type deal than just like the virtual tours, because what you're saying, I just don't think there's enough demand for it necessarily.
That's a good point, though. You know, you could go in and, you know, even if you did your virtual tour, you could take pictures for the company, and so now they have updated stuff for their website or whatever, maybe their Instagram or social media. I think it would be very cool on like social media stuff. I don't know how maybe Instagram or LinkedIn would work with that, but yeah, I think, you know, because everyone's on their phone, and if you could have an Instagram where you're like, hey, this is our gym, or this is our luxury home we're selling, or, you know,
well, and that's actually something, you know, that's just, you know, is actually bringing up a lot of, it's like kickstarting me into thinking about a lot of ways I can turn this thing around. You know, we have a Mattershot, I believe we have a Mattershot Instagram account, but I should be, to your point, hosting little clips of, or links at least, of even past tours we've done to just, you know, promote the company like that. Plus it drives business to the companies that I'm shooting, you know.
And whenever you're in that meeting, like I've had it whenever I was selling my CBD products, and, you know, I'd be like, hey, you know, I've got some CBD products you may be interested in, blah, blah, blah. Here's their value, the quality. But then whenever I was able to say, hey, go to this website and check us out. And then they can like sit on their own time while I'm there, or even when I'm gone. And like, one trick that I would do is have them pull it up in the meeting, and then later on in the day, it'll still be saved on their web browser. So when they go and open up their browser, it's like the first thing they see, and they're like, oh yeah. And then they can see like, okay, you know, this guy's real. I get a bit more touch. And I think Instagram and like LinkedIn is like a business card. It's like an electronic business card, because if you show someone, if you said, hey, check out Mattershot, and you've got 15,000 followers, they'd be like, wow, not only does this guy have like the social worth that like other people believe in him, but also someone out of this 15,000 may be interested in my services.
Right. Yep. Yeah, it's great for that. I agree. So it's actually an underutilized business tool, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I think I really believe Instagram is a business card. And it's like,
that's a great perspective.
It even has like social worth, you know, whenever you see someone is like, you know, at the gym or something, and you say what's up to them, and then you find out they have an Instagram of 100,000 people, you're like, wow.
God dang, who's this guy?
Yeah, this guy is somebody. Even, you know, even if it doesn't really show you if he's like a great person or not, or good to do
Sure.
business or not with, but it does show you that like, hey, he is dedicated to this, and
And
other
some people have obviously followed him or his ways or whatever.
Yeah, and if I get connected with this person, then it may rub off on me.
Exactly.
And I've actually been looking at LinkedIn recently because I'm I do a decent amount of stuff on LinkedIn rather than Instagram, just because I think LinkedIn is more my personality. But
sure,
on LinkedIn, I've got maybe like almost 1,000 connections maybe on LinkedIn, which LinkedIn is definitely different than Instagram with how the connections are. But there's only 2 people out of that 1,000 that ever post on the LinkedIn story. So like, your Instagram story at the top bar, it is flooded with people.
Oh yeah.
Like you can keep scrolling right for like a minute and just see person after person after person. Da, da, da. And then on LinkedIn, it's like
there's
only 2. Yeah, there's only 2 people. So it's like, to me, rather than
you can use that platform.
Exactly.
And you're gonna get seen versus somebody might scroll right past this.
Yes. Like there are business accounts and people's accounts on Instagram that are so far right, I would never even see them. Like they are not like, I'm not actively searching for them, so I'm not going to see it, but LinkedIn, it's so much easier.
Yeah. I've honestly haven't used my LinkedIn in a while, so I didn't even know they had that feature, but that's massive.
Yeah, I don't know how new it is, but it seems like they're trying to copy like the Facebook, Instagram.
That model.
Yeah, which, it notifies you if someone goes live, and I only get notified like once a week. So I thought if I was doing podcasts, why not do a LinkedIn Live thing just on a portion of a podcast, or maybe just have like a segment where I pull somebody on and do like, we just talk and then do a questionnaire, and then I don't know. I wish I could bridge it between LinkedIn and Instagram, but
I wonder if that's like, something they'll come up with down the road, because like you're saying, I mean, it would be smart for them to do just because of how many like influencers and stuff are on Instagram and all that, or just businesses in general that do use Instagram. Like, it's smart of them to connect the two, because then you could just upload your story to Instagram and right onto your LinkedIn. It just gives you more avenues for eyes to catch you.
Yeah, it's just kind of trying to bridge 2 different platforms. They may try and block it because I don't think Facebook has any ownership in LinkedIn, but
connection.
Yeah. Right. I just think that'd be interesting. But so what are some other what are some other opportunities you see? You moved from Denver to Atlanta now. Generally, I see whenever I move somewhere different, my ears are perking up on maybe some different avenues on how to make money out there. But what do you see as some different opportunity?
So I mean, my background's in, exercise science, really. And I spent the last 4 years being essentially a personal trainer. So I see that out here a bit. I don't know. I need to do some more research, but, in terms of like sports performance, I'm not sure there's like an overabundance of those types of gyms out here, or training styles for that matter. So I could get back into that, but I'd obviously be starting my own thing, not working for a company. So that would be a whole new avenue for me to get into. But I mean, really my thought behind this was trying to really beef up the Mattershot. That was kind of because I have rugby going on for like 7 months. So gives me about, 5 months to actually work in the off season. So I can't exactly, I don't know, get a bunch of clients, let's say, and train them and then just be like, oh, sorry, I have 7 months where I can't train you.
Yeah.
What I am exploring right now is a lot of my athletes back in Colorado doing either remote sessions or online programming for them.
Dude, I was about to say you may be really interested in something similar to like lifestyle coaching, or maybe some branch of that, because that's what Brittany is looking to do. And one of her friends is doing it. And I think she makes like, you know, 7 or 10 grand a month doing that.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, that's really good.
There is some serious money in lifestyle coaching. I mean,
for sure.
You really need to have a good understanding of, you know, the nutrition side or the training side or client relations, because that's
sure.
You know, what it's all based on. But I've seen you most of your, I think the entire time that I've known you, you've had a 6-pack. So, you know, you've always been someone that's been like healthy or been athletic, or, you know,
sure.
you haven't really veered too far off that track. So I think it's something that's like in your lifestyle already.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely ingrained in me. I mean, it's definitely ingrained in me being, you know, my parents did a good job of instilling that when we were younger. You know, we didn't eat out a lot. We had meals, you know, cooked at home every meal. I mean, sometimes on the weekends, like we'd, you know, go out for a family dinner on like Friday or whatever. But other than that, they taught us like just the importance of eating healthy and what to eat, what not to eat. You know, we didn't grow up on soda, not a lot of chips and that. I'm not saying that you can't enjoy those, you know, every once in a while or whatever, but not every day. So yeah, it's definitely ingrained in me, and it's, you know, as well as my wife, I think as well, is very good about it, and that's something we hope to pass on to, you know, our little baby Quinn. And yeah, I agree. I think, you know, it comes naturally to me, having those. That's what I was really strong at back in Colorado, was having those client relationships and building like real connections to my people, you know, so being genuine, not being fake. You know, there's a lot of fake, I don't know, there's a lot of fake sales people out there.
Yeah.
And I always prided myself on not being that and not trying to push a sale just to push a sale, making sure it's right for the person, you know, for the athlete, whatever the case may be. So, and I think that people realize that and can sense that, and that gives me a lot of credibility, I guess, towards them, which in the end of the day is what drives a good salesman, good sales business.
Well, and that's something that's almost like a theme that I've picked up from the first people I've been interviewing, is like, there is like a vision of an organic brand versus the more corporate style turnover, you know, where it's like, get them, do whatever you need to do to get them in, get them to pay
turn
you.
them over.
And then just like keep it rolling. But like the people I've talked to are very much more on your side, saying, you know, I want to be real with this person. If my services don't bring them value, then I don't really want to, or I'm not going to sell it to them. Yeah,
exactly.
There's no benefit, because maybe there's a negative issue down the road. You know, and building that touch or that connection.
Yeah, 100%. And I think honestly, you know, maybe it's just like a timing thing as well for like turning someone down. If you do it and do it honestly, that could build future business and a lot of respect, you know, towards you, you know, as the salesman, from the client. You know, if you're like, no, I don't think this is a good time for this reason, let's talk in 6 months, you know, that's going to build a lot of value. They're going to see that you're not just trying to take their money and, you know, just send them down the portal.
Yeah. You're not just trying to they're not just a checkbook to you.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about.
So with your connections on Mattershot,
Yeah.
the investors of the professional rugby team are fairly within your reach.
Oh, yeah.
I would say just the structure of the pro rugby side is the investors are, you can maybe see them once every quarter or something. You can see them quite a bit, and then every game they're watching you and kind of learning your name and who you are and things like that. Have you seen benefits for the players having such close touch to the investors?
I would say on like a smaller scale, because obviously I just got out here, so not so much here right now. Well, no, I wouldn't say that. So you know how there's a lot of foreigners in rugby.
Yeah.
So a lot of them have wives, girlfriends, whatever the case may be, and they might not have work when they get out here.
Mm-hmm.
So the team's actually gone and employed a few of the wives to help them out, which is kind of an indirect, I guess, answer to your question. But so I think that helps, though. I mean, that's a driving force for like a player to come out here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can get my wife work? Okay, that's a totally different story. Like, now I'm very interested.
Mm-hmm.
But in Glendale, I definitely saw it. A lot of the players would get jobs through, the city because of some of the guys that were investors on the team. They're always looking out for the players' best interests. And so if they did need work on the off season, they're happy to connect them with that stuff, which I think helps a lot. And then, I mean, I guess in another sense, like I bought and sold my house through one of my coaches. So for me, that was a big investment. Yeah, David Williams.
Yeah.
He did a fantastic job. Him and his girlfriend Lori,
Mm-hmm.
and we had such an easy and smooth process buying the house through them, making our initial investment, me and my brother, that we decided to use them to sell it as well, and they helped out big time.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't so much a total business opportunity, but in a way it was. I mean, I definitely flipped the house.
Anything you make money on, and you needed it to move quickly. You
Absolutely,
guys,
and he was happy to do it.
And he was the head coach, and Lori was the real estate agent.
So Davey actually is also an agent now. When we bought the house, he wasn't an agent. He was helping facilitate, but he was, I think, getting his real estate license because he was still coaching full time. And then after the second season, he wasn't coaching for us anymore. And so he's doing real estate full time now.
Oh, wow. That's great.
I've
seen, I think, some of Lori's stuff, and she always has really great marketing. I don't know anything about her business. I think she does
some of her
really
properties.
Well, but yeah, well, just like her, she's either her LinkedIn or her Instagram, maybe. But
she's very active on Instagram.
Yeah, I think that's maybe where
that might be where. Yeah, that's probably where you saw her. Yeah, she's very active on that. But yeah, they're fantastic. She's very high spirited, and she's got a good energy about her, positive energy. She's very charismatic. So, yeah.
How do you see if you were to take a snapshot right now versus maybe 6 months or a year, where would you see Mattershot and how much you're working on it, and maybe,
so I would hope to have, I guess my biggest thing from now, because basically I got rugby right for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
So what I would like to do over these is build the connections to initiate some business. Now, obviously, if it was to go a lot quicker than that, and I can get some shots out of the way like during the season, I'm happy to do that on my off days. But just building, realistically, just building connections for business to take off once the season takes a halt. Through probably, I'd probably start with my cousin, see his connections just because they're my age. So, a little bit of an immediate connection there, probably similar thinking, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then depending on how all that goes, reaching out to my coach to talk to some of the investors that might be interested in doing it as well.
And is your cousin the one we went and saw in Atlanta?
Yeah, we went to his house.
That was a baller house,
Yeah.
Cookie.
Yeah.
They had a freaking little pony.
Yeah, they had a little pony. They still have it, I think.
That was insane, Cookie.
Yeah,
if you get hooked into that commercial real estate connection, I think you'll be doing just fine.
I think it could be big too, right? Like, especially with how just booming of a city Atlanta is and how rapidly it's growing as well. I think it could be a big hit. So I think that's a good one. And plus, I think it's kind of exciting because it's, it's an area I haven't utilized yet. I haven't tapped into, right?
Well,
done residential real estate.
Oh, the commercial real estate, yeah.
Yeah, just commercial in that sense. But yeah. So I think it'd be cool. So I think that's my first kind of my thought process going forward right now is kind of attacking it that way, building those connections and trying to foster them into actual business. So,
do you have since you guys are looking for your own ways to get into people's marketing budgets, do you guys have your own marketing budget?
No, we do not. Just because, like I said, we're so, kind of small scale at the moment, and we haven't done a ton of self-marketing. It's one area I'd also like to spend over the next 6 months kind of beefing up, and actually getting creative with it. Actually,
you kind of cutting out there, Cook. You there, Cook?
Yeah, there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Just kind of.
Oh no. Off. There. Coffee.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Cook. Just kind of.
Okay, cool.
For a second, that was weird. But
that's weird. We circled back where he walked, and it's cutting out. I don't know.
Yeah, it may be something on my side. I don't know.
No, my service is pretty low. It's probably my phone.
Oh, okay. Well, and where would you see, so if you're getting back into Mattershot, and obviously you have the rugby career, do you think there would ever be a point where you would say, okay, Mattershot needs to take priority over rugby?
I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I don't think so. I think the way, they can say that, yeah. I think the way it could be built, or the way I would like to kind of build it, is if it got that big and that busy, we had that many shoots going on, that we would obviously hire out for like a photographer, so then I'm not having to go do the shoots, because those are the time consuming things, like sending the emails, setting up the shoots, that can all be done remotely, like while I'm still playing. So I think I would be able to sustain like doing both, depending. I mean, obviously if it got insanely massive, maybe I would, stop playing, but.
And how long do you think you want to play rugby professionally?
I've been getting that a lot lately. All my new teammates have been asking me. I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm a little bit, getting older. I'm 29, turning 30 in April. So I'm almost a grandpa at this point.
You're an old man on campus.
Getting an old man on campus. I really, I was playing probably some of the best footy I've ever played last season. And, I obviously had a pretty unfortunate injury. I broke 4 of my ribs. And I've had some other pretty bad injuries throughout the years. So I really think it's going to be about how my body feels season after season. So as long as I keep feeling good, I'd love to continue to play. I'm kind of probably in some of the best shape I've ever been in right now. So I can't tell by the way I'm huffing and puffing on this walk, but
yeah, that walk's not sounding good, man.
Hey, we're on that downhill now, dude. It's a cruise. So yeah, I mean, it's really going to be more just how the body's feeling, I think, or unless something crazy came up business wise, like some job opportunity that, it would be like impossible to turn down, then that would obviously change my mind a bit.
And this is something that I had asked Lucas, but what would you see as, or whenever you were going from high school to college to now the professional side, how would you say your mentality has changed? I mean, like on the business side, you could take it from being an employee to starting a business to, growing a larger business, or however you want to say it. But there's definite different maybe pillars or things that you do or look after to keep yourself in good shape and a good mental state.
So you're saying like on a business standpoint or on like
no, just on a rugby standpoint, just from like whenever you went from high school to college rugby, or actually you went to college football and then college rugby.
And then to college rugby. So I think, like you're saying, I think I took some lessons from each step of those, or from each one of those steps, I guess I took lessons from. So high school, right? I was very untrained physically. I was very small coming out of high school, and I didn't understand how to work out properly and all that stuff and take care of my own body, right? Like so much of being a professional is recovery. Like everyone thinks obviously you have to put the time in the gym and doing skills and stuff, but if you don't recover, you can't continue to do those on a daily basis. So it's arguably just as important as doing those themselves, So I think that's the biggest lesson I learned going from high school to college a little bit. I wouldn't say I didn't learn the recovery piece overly in college. I learned that a lot more so as I studied exercise science in college and then got into the professional environment. But then in college, I learned how to lift properly. I was learning the game at a more rapid pace, actually taking lessons away and not just like in high school, I basically just played for fun, So, and then just taking pieces from each of the different coaches I've had so many coaches over the years, and just trying to take little lessons from them each way as well.
How would you say on walking onto a field in high school, or what was the most impactful moment on a rugby field that you think you've ever had, or most memorable maybe?
Well, we did win a couple national championships in college, which was pretty special. Especially the first one for me personally. I didn't play as much, so it didn't feel as impactful for me. But I would say that second year when we won in North Carolina was pretty massive. So that was really special. Just showed how much hard work and dedication, can pay off in the end. And then a very humbling one that, drove me to continue to improve myself was actually when I shattered my leg in the All-American tour I was on in 2014.
Wow, I remember that one.
So that was the worst injury I ever had for sure. And, the doctor was you probably shouldn't play ever again and all this jazz. And I was absolutely not, I couldn't even imagine it at that time, not playing again. So that just really drove me to, it was very hard, obviously physically, but mentally it was so exhausting. I've never had an injury where I was sidelined for that long. And had to come over so many obstacles throughout the way. So mentally, that was a very maturing thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me realize how to attack any other injuries I got, and coming back from those. So I learned a lot through that whole process. That was an arduous thing.
That was 6 months plus, right?
It was 6 months until I got back on the field, but then I came back honestly a little bit early. Mm-hmm. And I immediately freaking gave myself, from overworking, I got a sports hernia and on my opposite leg down in my groin. Mm-hmm. And so then I had to get that fixed. So then it was okay, so now I was trying to push myself too hard and being immature at that point, trying to come back too early just because I wanted to play, just to play. It wasn't even an important game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I overworked myself, and now I've created another injury, and I have to sideline myself for another like 8 weeks,
Wow.
So that whole process, that whole like year and a half was a lot for me. But I'm happy. I mean, I'm not happy it all happened, but I took a lot of good lessons from it. So that was definitely a big stepping stone.
Well, there's definitely a mental aspect that people don't talk about.
Man,
going
dude, that's the most
from
crushing thing.
like whenever you're an athlete, I mean, people look at you on the field and somewhat envy what you're doing. And so you have a sense of like, when you're on the field, you have a certain status, I guess. And then when you're off of the field, like you feel like your self-worth isn't there. You
Absolutely
didn't do anything. People
and you're like missing out on
different.
everything.
Yeah.
It's hard to even go to practice just to watch, because you're like, God, I just want to be on the field. And then you have the whole other piece where like, you're waking up in pain, and then you're not waking up in pain the next day, but then the day after that you're back to pain. So it's like a confusing thing as well. It's like, am I actually getting better, or am I always going to be in pain? Like
this is my life now. Like,
is this my life? So it becomes exhausting, honestly. And so like basically what I had to tell myself throughout my physical therapy for everything was just like, you have to take every day as like a little victory. So whatever you can achieve just to get, that 1% better, and that you can apply not just to that, but to growing yourself every day in every aspect of your life, business, personal, all of it.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good point that I think people should really take into account more of, is that 1% every day. Because I was talking with Brittany the other day, and she felt like she would like work hard some days, and then she felt like she was off other days, and she didn't like how inconsistent she may be, not for like the gym side, but she's trying to start the lifestyle coaching stuff. And it was almost something that she was like, well, why can't I just commit? Why can't I just do it and that just be it? And, in my opinion, like, just with what you said, like with sports and stuff, you're not going to win every day, and you may lose for long periods of time. And that's something I don't think people really take into account. Like in sports, you get taught that, oh, wow, you had an amazing season. You guys were maybe positive, or maybe you won a national championship, and maybe the next year you lose
bottom of the table.
Yeah, you lose every game, or maybe you get hurt and then everything comes crashing down. And it's like, that's okay that happened. It's just, if you are, are you gonna come back and make that 1% every day? And even if you can't make the 1% every day, it's like, are you still progressing? Are you still getting better on some level? So you'll go backwards some days.
You can have the the seesaw pattern of like a graph chart, right? Up, down, up, down, as long as it's trending upwards. If you're going down, that's a problem, right? But you're always going to have to take a step back to take a step forward,
That's a great analogy, Cook. Trending upwards.
So and Taylor's probably a good point. She's walking next to me. She's like, sometimes you got to take a step back. It opens your vision into something, maybe an avenue you didn't try to attack yet, or you see something from a different point of view, and then you can go forward with that, and then maybe that's your successful step right there. So sometimes you got to take a moment to breathe instead of always just pushing too. That's not a problem.
Take your vacation or your time off.
It kind of made me think too, just, it's kind of a sidebar, but kind of on the same topic. I think a lot of people these days, this goes with athletics, this goes with in the working world, I see it a lot, is people that have not necessarily had to work for much, like growing up, and for their like, in their life, they haven't had to like work for things. They've just been very easily handed to them. And then when they get out into the working world, they just expect things, right? And it's just like let's say a high school athlete, a top high school athlete goes to a collegiate program. You're now the smallest fish in a huge pond.
Yeah.
And so a lot of kids think they got those big heads, and they're like, oh, I should be like starting, or they start a new job and they're like, oh, I should be on the top of the, the top salesman or whatever the job it is. And they haven't done anything to deserve it or work towards that. And those are the type of people that when the going gets tough, they quit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
and I think I see it a lot, and I think they're the ones that need to really pay attention to, like, how can I better myself 1% every day and earn the right to what they want to achieve. You know, nothing comes easy.
Well, and we'll wrap it up here in just a minute, but did you have any, or is there anything you'd want to say to maybe a new entrepreneur, or maybe someone trying to get into sports that's, you know, new or worried about it or concerned about failing, or, you know, not believing that they can succeed in it?
I mean, success is built on failure. So don't be afraid to fail. Like, yeah, it's not always gonna be fun. You know, it's not all butterflies and rainbows, you know, like sometimes you gotta stick your nose down and grind. But I'll tell you what, the people that have had success, and for anyone that wants it, they'll tell you that they had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations to get where they were or where they are. And so don't give up, you know, don't stop chasing your dreams and your goals, and set goals as well. But also make them realistic. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
You know, don't set something that's so far out of the way, or but then have goals in between that to reach, because you need to have successful, you got to have milestones, because those are the things that you can celebrate and they motivate you to continue on your path of success. So I'd say that's really important, is get that big goal in mind and set littler ones along the way to achieve. And, you know, just don't stop. It's really easy to quit. It's not easy to get yourself back up and to keep going.
I was watching a video that I found something really powerful, that was the people that become successful once and then kind of fall off were all they wanted, or their joy came from that one success. But the people that end up having continued success and continue growing are the ones that enjoy the journey over the success.
Sure. Of course, because it makes you respect the success when you get there, right?
Yeah. Like, making $10 million would be amazing for most people. Sure. But if you were just given $10 million, you know, I don't think you would really value it the same.
No, and I think that goes back to being like, you know, you think of historically, like, lottery winners, right? There's a lot of them that end up like winning these huge things and actually end up going like bankrupt.
Yeah, they end up worse off than they were before.
Right. And, you know, that's that exact scenario. They didn't earn it, they were just given it, and then it's like you don't respect that money, because you didn't have to do anything for it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point, Goff.
Well, no, it's been awesome having you on, Cook, and I really appreciate it. And I hope the best for you and your family down there out in Atlanta. And if you guys have any more Mattershot stuff you need done up here, I may be down for that. But
yeah, absolutely.
I'm always down for the hustle. So
yeah, I love it.
But thanks, man, and I hope you have a good day, Cook.
All right, Goff, you too, buddy.
Thanks, man. See ya.
All right, bye.